Ladies and gentlemen, aviation lovers, veterans, and history buffs, today we pause, reflect, and pay tribute. The United States Air Force is preparing to say goodbye to a true icon of the sky, the A-10 Thunderbolt II, affectionately known as the Warthog. For decades, this rugged, unglamorous warhorse stood as a sentinel over ground troops, executing missions no other aircraft was quite built to endure. In this video, we'll journey through the story of the A-10, how it was born, some of its most memorable missions, the legacy it leaves behind, and what its retirement means for future air power. This is not a lamentation, but a salute to the pilots, crews, maintainers, and above all, to the machine whose roar and burst will echo for generations. In the post-World War II and early Cold War era, fixed-wing close air support CAS was often treated as a secondary or auxiliary mission. Fighters and bombers were optimized for air-to-air combat, high-speed strikes, or deep interdiction. But in conflicts where ground troops fight for each yard, the demand for a plane built to loiter low, take damage, and deliver precise firepower grew urgent. Over its decades of service, the A-10 was there in the thick of conflict. Here are a few standout operations and stories that capture its spirit. Operation Desert Storm, 1990-1991. In the Gulf War, the A-10 came into its own. As coalition forces pushed into Iraq, the Warthog was critical in destroying enemy armor, providing close support, and knocking out air defense threats. A-10s flew low over the desert, engaging Iraqi tanks and vehicles with their Cannon and AGN-65 Maverick missiles. Their presence enabled ground maneuver, suppressed enemy fire, and saved lives. The aircraft's ability to loiter close to ground units made it an ideal partner for ground commanders needing fast, responsive air support. This war proved the concept in modern conflict: CAS matters, and the A-10 mattered. Balkans/Bosnia and Kosovo. During the 1990s, conflicts in the Balkans presented complex airspace with mixed threats, civilian populations, and ambiguous rules of engagement. The A-10's precision and durability made it one of the go-to platforms for dirty work, taking out vehicle convoys, providing cover to NATO forces, and supporting peace enforcement. Its ability to linger, adapt, and strike selectively made it uniquely suited to those fluid, constrained engagements. Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom. In the post-9/11 era, Iraq and Afghanistan saw the A-10 deployed repeatedly for close support, convoy protection, suppression of enemy strongpoints, and rescue escort. In both tiers, terrain and insurgent tactics forced close-in engagements where the Warthog's strengths shone. Pilots often flew deep into contested zones, supporting troops in contact. Its armor and redundancy allowed it to survive hits from small arms and even heavier weapons in some cases, continuing to fly and deliver support. The iconography of the A-10, its sound, its presence, became a morale booster. Troops on the ground sometimes referred to it as a guardian. The last big gatherings, hog smoke and farewell ceremonies. As the Warthog's retirement nears, its community has gathered once last time to celebrate its legacy. One such event is Hog Smoke 2024, where 13 fighter squadrons assembled for a final showcase of tactical precision and camaraderie. For many participants, this was not just a competition, it felt like a final salute to a shared chapter. The host 47th Fighter Squadron described the gathering as the last gunfight for some squadrons, DVIDS. Similarly, some Air National Guards have held inactivation ceremonies. For example, Maryland's Air National Guard officially concluded its A-10 flying mission in 2025. On that day, the final 2 A-10C jets rolled out, flew in formation over the airfield, then departed, a symbolic final bow to a storied era. To bring humanity to this machine, here are a few stories that might resonate with viewers. Aerial rescue escorts and CAS under dire conditions. There are documented instances of A-10s providing close cover to rescue helicopters under fire, holding back enemy forces while extraction could occur. Wartime damage and grit. Some Warthogs have returned to base with severe battle damage, bullet holes, systems torn, but still flying. That resilience earned it deep respect among crews. Many pilots spoke of how flying the A-10 meant you felt like you had a duty. Beyond just simply fly the mission, you had to watch out for the troops, integrate closely with ground units, and be ready to take risks. Tributes in symbolic gestures. In 2016, when Colonel Avery K., the father of the A-10, was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery, 4 A-10s flew overhead in a missing man formation, a fitting tribute to a man who shaped its existence. Pogo. These human threads, pilots' courage, maintainers' devotion, soldiers' gratitude, are woven deeply into the A-10's story. Legacy, what the A-10 leaves behind. As the Warthog prepares to retire, what is the legacy it leaves behind? What lessons, capabilities, and culture does it pass on? A CAS doctrine that endures. One of the greatest legacies is doctrinal, the affirmation that close air support is not an auxiliary mission, but a core function in modern warfare. The A-10 insisted that an aircraft be specialized for CAS, leading to decades of tactics, training, and culture centered on supporting troops on the ground. Even as new platforms emerge, like drones and stealth fighters or multi-role jets, the ethos pioneered by the A-10, loiter, flexibility, survivability, and precision, will continue to influence how air forces conceive of supporting ground operations. Technological and sustainment lessons. Keeping the A-10 flying to the end required constant upgrades, refits, and maintenance innovation. In 2024, the Air Force and Ogden Air Logistics Complex celebrated the final completion of the A-10 wing overhaul program, a symbolic final salute to decades of sustainment effort. That effort had kept it through replacing, repairing, and overhauling more than 190 wing sets over many years. The sustainment philosophy, modular upgrades, pragmatism, system redundancy, and ease of repair serves as a model for prolonging service lives of legacy systems in constrained budgets. Lessons in lifecycle management, adaptability, and cost-effective upgrades will be referenced for future airframes, whether unmanned systems or next-generation jets. Cultural and emotional resonance. A piece of the A-10's legacy is not strictly technical, it's emotional, cultural, and symbolic. Among ground troops, the Warthog was a guardian. Its presence often meant the difference between safe movement and peril. Among pilots and maintainers, the A-10 fostered an identity. If you fly the Warthog, you understand ground support like few others. That sense of belonging, pride, and mission-centric culture is hard to replicate. The community around the A-10, squadrons, reunions, hog smoke events, veteran organizations, created a network of memory and storytelling that will keep its legend alive. Museums, static displays, and remembrance. As the jets phase out, many will end up in museums or on display. The Tulsa Air and Space Museum, for instance, is acquiring an A-10 Thunderbolt II and plans to restore it for public display, even inscribing it with the name of a former pilot, Colonel Kenneth Crabe, as a tribute. Tulsa Air and Space Museum. These static displays provide future generations a physical connection to the machine, a chance to see the scars, the cockpit, the guns, and hear the stories of those who flew and maintained them. The challenge of what comes next. Of course, with the retirement comes the question, what replaces it? The future of CAS is likely to be multifaceted. Unmanned platforms or drones with loiter time and precision strike may take part of the role, in particular in permissive airspace. Multi-role fighters/stealth assets. Newer jets may be adapted with CAS modules, but they may struggle to replicate the ruggedness and low-speed handling of the Warthog. Directed energy, standoff weapons, and loitering munitions may shift some combat value outward, reducing the need for aircraft to fly so close to threats. But no matter what replaces it, the standard the A-10 set of survivability, responsiveness, deep integration with ground forces will endure and be measured against. Conclusion, final flight, lasting echo. We arrive at the end of this tribute. The A-10 Thunderbolt II, the Warthog, is going into retirement, but it is not being forgotten. This is not just about a machine, it's about the people who shaped, maintained, flew, and relied on it. It is about the ground troops who, under fire, felt safer knowing a Warthog was overhead. It is about the pilots who poured their hearts into its missions, the crews who tended every bolt, and the families who watched from base fences. As the last engines roar and disappear over the horizon, we should not mourn its absence so much as celebrate what it cost us, that protection, resilience, and presence matter. That even in an age of high-tech weapons and distant drones, the gritty, low-flying warthorse had something no sleek jet ever could. Let us remember the missions where its cannon and bombs turned the tide, the aircraft it escorted, the convoys it defended, the soldiers it protected, the damage it absorbed and still flew home, the pilots and maintainers and ground controllers who made every sortie possible, the cheers, the tears, the camaraderie, and the sound, always the sound. And may its legacy continue in museum hangars, in the next generation of aircraft, and in the hearts of those who fight on the ground. Thank you, A-10. Fly high, rest easy.